want to say something. In our churches these days, we are being told that a brother and a sister that is courting or that is in courtship, they're not supposed to visit each other. Relating it to this scripture, do you think it is actually right or wrong? Do you think a sister in courtship with a brother is supposed to go visit him, cook for him, make his bed, do the dishes, and all of that? Is it right in the Christian setting?
Different churches have their doctrine and dogmas. And generally speaking, relationships that have emotional attachments must be treated with some form of care. In my considered opinion, and in the light of scriptures, I'd like to also say that the churches who make those recommendations are not wrong in putting up those kind of recommendations for young people to avoid getting too close. Because the issues around emotional attachment is that should you not be able to know the red flags and then set boundaries, there could be an emotional blowout. And so to forestall that happening, they have said that, look, we must maintain boundaries. Because, as young people who have just passed puberty, sometimes getting into adulthood, there is this tendency for them to want to always be on it. Animals generally have an it period, but for humans, it appears that we are almost always on it. The same thing applies to Christians. Being a Christian does not insulate you or make you to lose every form of emotionality. And so in a bit to managing that, they have said that, look, there are certain appearances that we must avoid so that we do not have stories that touch. So in my opinion, they are wrong, but there are those ones that have overstretched it, because I believe that young people who are courting would need some time to also know themselves. But in doing that, it must be done within the rules of religious permit. And then it should be something that shouldn't give them a room for emotional provocation that will lead to a blowout.
So with this being said, is there a duration for courtship? A Christian brother and a Christian sister in a relationship headed towards marriage, is there a duration for courtship?
I don't think that it would be safe to place a boundary for it. However, when courtship is over prolonged, you find out that when the timing is too long, things may go under the bridge. So in a bid to avoid that, if you ask me, an ideal prescription would be that between 6 months and say 1-2 years, courtship should be over.
This is in your considered
In my opinion,
churches
yes.
today, they feel if it gets to 6 months, it's even too long.
And also, you made mention about doctrine. There are some churches that before they are wedded in the church, a day to that day, the bride goes to sleep in the church towards the
on their pastorate.
Yes. Is that actually right?
It's a good thing. It's not a bad practice.
Compulsory. I think
it shouldn't be compulsory.
It's compulsory, but I'm not sure if it's right, because the church doesn't even know how they've been.
Yeah, it's just people deceiving themselves in a way by saying she should come and sleep there. What has been happening over the weeks and months, you never can really tell. You see, our churches must learn how to manage and deal with young people. Young people have a way of finding a solution to everything. So I think that when you get overprotective, you even arouse their consciousness to that issue. So for me, I think it's to advise and recommend that they keep the necessary distance to avoid falling into the sin of fornication or having a premarital sexual intercourse. But be that as it may, with the current realities of our time, I think that all of those kind of practices are looking old-fashioned. The point is the church, during the counseling section, should counsel them to stay away from things that could provoke them to fall into the temptation. Because, of course, though we are in this world, though we are Christians, we still live in the flesh. And the flesh would want to satisfy the pleasures of it that comes. Of course, 3 things can bring down any person: the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. Should you be able to deal with this, you'll make progress in life. So for me, I think that it should be discouraged for those denominations who have set that as a rule. it should be discouraged because young people will always find a way around